welcome back to the PI show. Before the break, we were discussing transport accidents and what happens if someone's injured in a transport accident. And there's a whole variety of medical and like expenses, if you like. That's a broad umbrella where TAC will pay for medical expenses, but also things which fall under things like gardening, home help, home modifications, vocational rehab.
Computer equipment,
and they pay for a whole host of things which are pretty significant for people who are injured in an accident. However, from time to time there are disputes, and one well-known dispute went to a tribunal where the person who had a brain injury wanted to buy a computer.
Yes.
And that was part of his rehabilitation. I think he was doing some training and rehabilitation. However, TAC took the position, bizarrely I think, that they'd pay for half the computer because half his time was being spent on personal use and half the time was being spent on vocational rehabilitation. And it went to a tribunal. What did the tribunal do?
The tribunal indicated that the appropriate way to deal with this was to pay for the laptop computer.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah. And even though some of it might have been for his own personal use, but you know, in quotation marks, but it was a strange decision, and I think the tribunal was fairly critical of the position TAC took. I mean, there's been a lot of, well, I won't say a lot, but there's been a number of cases where TAC have refused to pay for walking sticks, other sort of pieces of equipment. Home modifications, often an area of disputation. They sometimes delay because they've got to send in what's called occupational therapists who do a report. This may take months and months and months, and people are frustrated and delays and things. But
it's part of the whole rehabilitation of getting people back into society. There are a myriad, in fact, encyclopedic list of things that you can go through, such things as Harry's already said, vocational retraining and pre-vocational training, therapy support services, speech therapy, return to work programs, pain management, orthotics, orientation and mobility, occupational therapy. That is so important when they go out and see what your requirements are when you're going back to your house. Home modifications again, Harry said that, gym, swim and all those courses. But
Martin, they are fantastic benefits, and we think that, you've got a view that the TAC scheme is one of the best schemes in the world, and people from overseas come and study how TAC blend, in effect, what's called common law and no-fault benefits, so that people get, if through no fault of their own they're injured in a transport accident, they can claim common law, but they also have underneath that the no-fault benefits.
The no-fault benefits, if they become a transport accident victim, they have entitlements. We spoke about that last week. Therefore, their medicine and their loss of wages are generally covered while the person's going through rehabilitation, etc. That is a world-class scheme, and compared to some other countries in the world, like I travelled extensively in a former life, and you can travel to America and be hit with a bill of $10,000 a day while you're in a hospital. Here, you're covered by the transport accident scheme. It's a vastly workable scheme that looks after the accident victims.
And as I say, in addition to the medicine, and it also provides some provision for common law if you're seriously injured.
Correct.
You've got to get through the gateway. But, from time to time there are disputes with TAC, and
if that's the case, you again go and see a lawyer that's experienced in this area, and you can then seek legal advice.
Yep. And again, some cases that are unusual would be getting back to alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
I think you've had a case where someone who was a passenger in a car but was involved, in effect, in a drug deal.
Yep.
Again, disqualified totally. From
Well, we convinced, their lawyer realised that there was a dark side to the case, that they'd been involved in a drug deal. They were in actual fact injected with heroin. They were overtaken by the drug. The driver drove through a red light. The passenger was on it as well.
The driver was at fault.
Yes.
But why wouldn't the passenger get any sort of benefits?
Passenger participated in the same needle, the same heroin, so therefore...
Tough decision.
Yes, but again, if we go down that path of before, is the person entitled to compensation? They certainly got their TAC no-fault benefits, so there was no fault attributed to them.
But she couldn't sue the driver who was at fault?
She participated in the same thing with him. Yeah.
Okay. So, look, I think that's all we've got time for. The transport accidents just throw up a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different cases.
A lot of fact situations.
If in doubt, put in a claim.
Yes.
If in doubt, see a lawyer.
Seek legal advice, yes.
And then you've got to get your way through the 300-page Transport Accident Act, 200 sections that govern your rights.
And your entitlements.
That's all we've got time for today. Don't forget to look at our website if you've got any questions and queries, and we'll see you next week for another PI episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.